Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky, Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky, Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here now. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we welcome you amongst us today and celebrate the gift of life that you have lavished upon each one of us. We ask that you would open our ears so that we may hear your voice, open our minds so that we may receive your eternal wisdom, open our spirits so that we may know your leading and guidance, and open our hearts so that we may receive your wonderful love. Lord, we thank you for the speakers and facilitators. We pray that you would give them great inspiration as they share with us what you have placed in their heart. We pray that you would fill them with courage and give them your peace. We ask all this in the glorious name of Jesus. Amen.
We, the Department of Physics, are organizing 5 days online faculty development program on active learning and advanced scientific computing methods. Good morning to all. To start my talk with a good morning may sound unfair, as we all know the urge that the pandemic has forced us to be indoors. But we thank the God Almighty for His immense grace in being with us. COVID-19 has brought us to a different dimension of uncertainties, but learning does not stop. Our professional growth will be nurtured through this FDP program. We could better equip ourselves to the new scenario to be followed hereafter. My gratitude and heartfelt thanks to the management of Loyola College for taking interest in developing we, the staff, for the challenges ahead. We thank Reverend Dr. Francis P. Xavier, the rector of our Loyola College, Reverend Dr. Selvanayagam, the secretary and the correspondent, Reverend Dr. Thomas, the principal of our college, and Dr. Melkes Gabriel, the deputy principal of our college, who initiated us to do this faculty development program. I would also thank the head of the Department of Physics, Dr. S. Jerome Das, who always encourages us. I especially thank the conveners of this FDP, Dr. A. Stanley Raj and Mr. Joseph Prabhakar, for their contribution and involvement in making this FDP a grand success. My special wishes to the participants who have enrolled in this program. I believe this program could be most beneficial to all of you. Thank you.
Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Yes, during this COVID-19 pandemic situation, it's time to look back our skills and to refresh our potential. Online teaching experience poses new challenges for traditional teaching and learning methodologies. This FTP program has been segmented into two parts. First 2 days of the session, speaker will focus on the learner-centric technique called active learning methods. It will enhance the learners to understand the subject clearly and will help the teaching community in accomplishing their primary goal of inculcating knowledge to the digital audience. Third day of this program will bridge the gap between the learning methodology and the scientific computing methods. Last 2 days, the speakers will discuss the scientific programming language MATLAB, which can be applied to all fields of science. I hope this FTP will bring out fruitful results, and I am sure that these takeaways will motivate you and will help you to face the digital immigrants of our society, that is, our students. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I take great pleasure in introducing our speaker, Dr. J. Vishwanath, Professor, Department of Mathematics, Veltech Rangarajan, Dr. Saguntala R&D Institute of Science and Technology. Dr. J. Vishwanath has done his PhD in stochastic models. His areas of specialization are harvesting models and inventory models. He is currently working on Israeli queue in inventory models. He has published several papers in national and international journals. He has also attended several workshops and conferences. Other than academics, Dr. J. Vishwanath has engaged himself in many social service activities. He is also a yoga instructor. Dr. Vishwanath is a member, Institute for Engineering Research and Publication. He has also been awarded a Best Teacher Award. We, the Department of Physics, Loyola College, feels happy to have you as a speaker for our FTP program. I now invite Dr. J. Vishwanath to give us insights to this FTP program. Thank you.
Very good morning, everyone. I am J. Vishwanath, Professor in Mathematics, Veltech Rangarajan, Dr. Sakuntala R&D Institute of Science and Technology. I thank Professor, Department of Physics, Loyola College, for the nice introduction on me. I am very happy and thank this moment for the opportunity given by Loyola College, in particular Department of Physics, Professor A. Stanley Raj. I'm really very thankful to them. Really appreciate and thank the management of Loyola College and the patron of the program to encourage the staff members to conduct such a programs even in a lockdown period of COVID-19. I'm happy to be a part of Veltech since our institution is freely allow the staff members to involve in research activities and to enrich their knowledge by means of attending lectures to the various seminars, FTP programs, many workshops, as well as some of the programs which is motivated the faculties as well as the research scholars in the form of faculty development programs. Now, I'm just topic today is given for me is that active learning methods. Now, active learning methods and introduction. Today topic is that. Wait a minute. I'm sharing my screen. This is what the today's topic we have taken, active learning methods and introduction. Now, what today's session we have covered, before we go, let me discuss something about a learning process and teaching process. Then we go into this today's session. Actually, when we think about this teaching process, for example, after the class got over or a staff member have come to the department, they just to share their opinion or an activity what had happened in the classroom with this teacher or co-teacher or with their colleagues. They will tell that how a colleague is asking them how the class was going today. Then the teacher would reply that, yeah, wonderful the class is. I wonderfully took the class. The class is full of silence. I didn't allow them to move even a bit and talk even a bit. I controlled entirely. This is what the word we use, control. Now, real success of teaching is happen that when the students are controlled, or the lecture make them to control themselves, is a real achievement of teaching. So now instead of the teacher have to control, by means of the lecture, effective lecture, the means of the methodology they have taken to lecturing, the lecturing tools they have used, this and all have to make the students to get controlled, and then they have to listen. This is the real success. One thing. Another way, when we say that our teaching is, our objective of teaching is succeeded on that particular day or achieved on that particular day, it is purely depends upon that whether the learners have learned on that particular session entirely or at most the optimum level. This depends on that. So that will be concentrated on by means of introducing this active learning methods instead of traditional teaching. This was the aim of this today's session, to give an introduction about that active learning methods. Just the session will be covered. Today's session covered advantages and disadvantages of traditional learning methods, purpose of active learning method implementation, why active learning method is, what is ALM in literature, types of learners. Why? Because we should know that what types of learners are available, so that accordingly we have to select the appropriate active learning method. So it is needed that. Then active versus passive learners, how to improve learning quality, good teaching top 10 requirements, 7 principles of good practice in education. This is what the topics we are going to cover. We'll go slowly one by one. First, advantages of traditional learning method. Advantages of traditional learning method. What we consider as traditional learning method, no? Usually we'll go to the classroom. We just, by means of our eyesight or our command, we just control the students to make them to be silent. And we started to give the lecture with the help of shock and talk. This is what our traditional method we are using. So what are the advantages of traditional method, we'll say? See, always the existing method, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, we should come to know. Then only how to resolve the disadvantages, so that the students will get more benefited. This is what the purpose. So advantages of traditional learning methods are spark interest. Okay, give an interest to the students to listen, can be a large amount of information. Within one session, we can deliver a lot of informations. It also may reach large audience. Why? Because a lecture will be given, so more than 100, 200 participants may involve in a very big hall. So reach large audience. Maintain control. So when we are lecturing, and as usual, so just to control by means of our comment. Protect students. So in the classroom, students feel that they are so safe under the teacher's monitoring. Help auditory learners. That's very important, that auditory, see, many types of learners are there. After some slide, just we go through this. What are the different type of learners? One type of learner is auditory learner. Auditory learner is always interested on listening the lectures and learn. So for the auditory learners, this will be so helpful that the traditional method is. Then we see that what is the disadvantages of traditional learning method. Passive learners never be attracted. Okay, very dull students never be attracted, always you continuously giving the lecture. Inadequate feedback. They never give the feedback freely in front of us. Flagging attention, poor retention. Why? Because so after 20 or more, a lecture goes beyond the 20 minutes, automatically the attention will be, they started to lose the attention, their mind started to waver. So they flag the attention, the poor retention. So the burden, the high burden, continuously more than 40 minutes, 50 minutes or 2 hours when we are lecturing that, the retention will be so poor, they are not able to recall what they have listened or heard on that session. Burden on lecturing. So lecture get bored for them. Non-auditory learner never get interested on this. Lectures assumes homogeneity. This is what the big drawback in traditional teaching or learning method. So lecturing assumes homogeneity in that sense. See, when we started, for example, as a maths professor I am, so I'm just telling an example. For example, I'm going to start today's session. I'm going to start vector differential calculus, for example. So when you go to the classroom, before I started with this vector differential calculus, I assume that all the students are having well-based knowledge on differential calculus. I assume. Then I assume then started to teach vector differential calculus. So for vector differential calculus, they have to learn. They should know the basic ideas of differential calculus. What is meant by differentiability? What is meant by limit? Left and right limits. Everything they should know that. What is the partial derivatives or differentiation? Everything they have done very well. Chain rule. Then we can bring them to this vector differential calculus. So this is what the drawback in this traditional learning method. So we assume that all the learners are homogeneous. They have this type of basic knowledge so that they are ready to acquire the next level of knowledge. Now we know that we should know that what is the purpose of ALMs. ALM is nothing but active learning methods. Active learning methods. Is a small modification in the way of understanding our teaching. So instead of teaching methods, we have to concentrate on learning methods. So active learning methods are learner-centered. Active teaching method is active teaching method is teacher-centered. But active learning method is learner-centered. So what is the purpose of introducing active learning method? We'll see that. This active learning methods by means of introducing increase students' participation. So our aim is that students have to participate more in the process of learning. This is what our main motto and objective. Increase students' engagement. So they engage themselves into that. Then they feel that they are part of it and then they involve in it. Increase students' attention. Since we make them to involve more and more in some of the activities in the name of active learning methods or techniques, their attention is more. Why? Because they involve themselves voluntarily. More students got ownership in that particular course. So they feel that it is my course. Instead of that, this is maths teacher, this is physics teacher, it is their course they are teaching. Instead, the students started to feel that it is my course. Less like by the instructor. By means of introducing these active methods effectively, the lecturing time will be and the instructor will give less lecturing, but the students will learn more and more. More exciting classroom experience, not only for the student, it's for the teacher also. So instructor also feel that a very good experience in the classroom as well as this learner. Higher level thinking will be, it is laying a platform for the students to have higher level thinking. Why active learning method? As I told that now, in traditional method, we feel that there is a homogeneity of knowledge everyone have, but it is not true in real life. Why? Because different people are different learners. In different ways they will learn. So different people learn in different ways. So always not all. See, you would have been observed that even in our family also, we have children. One child will be learning everything by means of, and if you tell like a message as a story, they learn immediately. Even a very tough lesson, if you tell as a story, they listen and then they understand and then recall it immediately. Somebody, we have to demonstrate it. For example, you want to explain about the work, how the mixing will be working. You have to call the person, you have to explain him by means of demo. So that's what different people learn in a different way. So learning is by nature an active process. Active learning method engage more part of the brain, so that we need different type of methods, since different type of learners are available in the same single classroom. So it is not adequate to follow a same method of learning. So we have to change the different type of methods, so that it will attract different type of learners to learn. That's the purpose of active learning methods. So what is active learning methods in literature? We'll just go through. When learning is active, students do most of the work. This is told by Silberman. So now, as early slide we mentioned that when learning become active, no need of us to make the students to interfere or involve in it. Automatically, students themselves, they start to involve in it. Students must do more than just listening. So next level they have to go that. Not only by means of giving the lecture in the classroom, they just to listen it. They have to go for the next level. For example, even in the classroom, we teach an exercise. Just we are giving some more exercises or homework for them to do it. They have to go a little further. They must read. They have to write. They have to discuss about the concept or be engaged in solving the problems. So this is the next level they have to go, not only for listening. Most important to be actually involved, students must engage in such higher order thinking tasks as analyze, synthesize, and evaluation. This is told by Chickering and Gamson in 1987. So now what is analysis and synthesis and evaluation? You see that? See, in our usual lecturing, the people, what they have learned, they are ready to reproduce it. For example, definition. If you ask any question, they'll just to define it. What is Laplace transform? It's like vomiting, memorizing and then reproducing. That's all that. They never analyze it. So they have to go to the next level, that they have to analyze it. So each and every part should be separated, and then they have to analyze. And they should be, see, analyze means, for example, if you are taking a classroom for 4 concepts, each concept, what it intended to say, how it will be applied, how long it will be worth for applying it. They should be analyzed. Synthesize it. They have to synthesize that, what and all the things we learned so far, how we can amalgamate everything to achieve the goal and solve it. And evaluation. So what they have analyzed, what they have synthesized, they have to achieve the goal of real-time problems. They have to be capable to attempt and solve the real-time problems. So it's called evaluation level. So that all the active learning methods give a good platform for the students to achieve these higher goals. Active learning, how it will be inculcated. In a different ways, we can inculcate this active learning. We are discussing 4 methods here. Problem-based learning, we can concentrate on. Cooperative learning, we can concentrate on. Learn by doing, this is one of the way of active learning. Inquiry-based learning, how, what, where from, by means of inquiring, getting the knowledge. Cooperative learning, nothing but there should be the cooperation among the teams to achieve the goal. Problem-based learning, a real-time problem will be given that they have to attack the problem by means of known knowledge, they have to solve it. So active learning method, by means of problem-based, cooperative learning, learning by doing, inquiry-based learning, we can do it. First, we see that what is PBL, problem-based learning. It is the learning method in which complex real-world problems are used to check the understanding of students' learning of concepts, theory, and principles. So now, even they have learned lot in theory class or in our lecturing. If we give a small real-time problem, the students are not able to apply the knowledge what they have gained in the classroom to solve the real-life problems. So now this is one of the method to train the students to apply the knowledge what they have gained in the classroom. It's called problem-based learning. Next, cooperative learning. See, cooperative learning is very, very important, since in our public behavior, we need to be cooperated with others. Why? Because no goal in real life is achieved by ourselves alone. It is not possible. Everything is a teamwork. Even if the function it is arranged today, FDP program, today it is arranged. There is much cooperation and coordination here to arrange this. So cooperative learning is very, very important to the students, to give this leadership quality to the students. So it is a process of breaking the classroom of students into small groups to achieve a goal by cooperation of students among the group, so that they can discover a new concept together and help each other learning. So cooperative learning is intended and indirectly just leading to the students to learn what is pure learning. Peer learning is nothing but the learner become an instructor sometimes. So the students themselves, they are teaching and discussing with their peers, and then they teach and they learn from the peers. It's called pure learning. So it is just a base for pure learning. So cooperative learning is to achieve the big goals as a team, to understand their part and then role in this particular group to achieve the particular goal. Everyone is cooperatively acted and coordinate, and then they come to achieve the goal. This is what cooperative learning. Next is learning by doing. Learning by doing, that many of the students will have this quality that even 100 hours of lecture you give that, they never understand the concept. Instead, we just take them to the laboratory and then give the machine with them. We just dismantling it, and then we assemble it again. And then while do a dismantling and assembling this each part of the machine, when you are explaining that how each part is working, then immediately after that particular student is able to explain everything what they learned so far. So learning by doing is so powerful technique, method for learners. By American philosopher John Dewey. He told that it is a hands-on approach to learning. So they themselves do and then they learn. That is, students must interact with their environment in order to adopt the learn. So they learn, they adopt themselves in the environment. They just see every things by means of seeing and observing that they understand. It is what learning by doing. Then next one is inquiry based learning. How it comes, where from it comes, what happened that if you combine with that mixture. So what is the bond of it? Why the bond is broken when it is heated? So by means of inquiry, they learn. So inquiry based learn. It is an approach of a learning that emphasizes the student's role in the learning process. Instead of teachings and insisting the students are encouraged to explore the material, ask questions and share ideas. So they themselves involved, they themselves ask the question, how it comes, what sort of material it is, what is the compound of it, when heated, why it got melted, even heated very high, it is not get melted, why, what is the bond reaction. So when you mix this material with any other material, what will happen then? Why it is not mixing? What property makes it not to get mixed? So like that, based on the inquiries they have learned. This is called inquiry-based learning. Then what are the categories of active learning strategies we say? See, strategies are very important. So when we are introducing an active learning method, so actually what are the active learning methods we are going to see in the next lecture. Today we just give an introduction about that, what is mean by active learning method, what are the categories of active learners, and then what the learning strategies are available. That's what we are discussing in this session. Next session is like a hands-on experience that we will have in the next session. So now what are the strategies of active learning strategies are that individual activities, many activities, active learning methods are involved in a single individual, how to involve in it and learn. It is called individual activities, paired activities. So two members will involve as each team will have two members in informal small groups. So we never tell that the main drawback is that in many of the classes, we would have been an experience of giving some assignments to the students to make them as separate groups. What difficulty will feel? No? Suppose when we give a task to the same type of same group of students, there is a drawback as well as there is a benefit. So time to time it will be changing. So time to time we should be dismantle the group, or you have to assemble the same group. It is depends upon the concept we are taken on that particular session and the people who have selected on the particular group. So informal small group is very helpful so known people, for example, in a particular group, all the students are passive learners, so they have much bond among themselves. Instead of involving in the studies, they involving in some other activities and talking and chatting. So for that reasons, informal small group is very, very important and helpful that we never tell that what group you will go. So immediately randomly we selected the numbers 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then all the 1 will be joined together, 2 will be joined together, 3 will be joined together. So it is an informal and a random group. So in this, there is no bond among the students in each group will be there, so that they will automatically involve in this activities of learning instead of chatting or wasting the time or dilly-dallying the time. Cooperative students project. So now make this as a group and giving a project for them. They have to cooperatively, they have to work it out among them and then come out with a solution for the project. So these are all the strategies of active learning. Now an important part is that we should know about the learners. So we have to categorize the learner. See, the learning process how to be get succeeded that we should be so familiar about the type of learners available. So according to the learner's taste and then category, we have to fix or select the active learning techniques to implement over in the classroom. So main type of learners are visual learners. Next is auditory learners, read-write learners, then kinesthetic learners. So one by one we discuss that what is meant by visual learner, what sort of learning method they are interested on. So visual learner. So visual learners always in the classroom would have been observed. These and all would have every teacher. Why? Because everyone is here is a in teaching a line. So everyone is a professors. So everyone have these type of experiences, even the school and the colleges. So visual learner always there will be fast talkers. So in the classroom before we start the lecture, lot of questions they'll ask. Impatience, they never wait for a teacher or an instructor to complete the concept. Before that they started. Interrupt, always they will interrupt in the classroom. Learn by seeing and visualizing. That style or fashion of learning will be that learn by seeing and visualizing. Everything should be just put in terms of slides. We have to show it, or we have to show some videos. We have to let them to see and visualize the concepts. Then only they will understand. 2-dimensional space or 3-dimensional space, for example, in mathematics. So they never visualize. They never understand by means of giving a lot of lectures and diagrams. We have to put the diagrams and then let them to visualize it. Then only they'll understand it. So these are all the nature of the visual learners. So what is the suitable strategy for them to satisfy this visual learner? Suitable teaching strategies that demonstration and using more visual aids. We have to demonstrate everything. So some mixture we have to create it in front of him. You have to just to mix it, and then how the color changed, how the density is changed, everything you have to just visualize and let them to understand it. If he is a mathematics student, so we have to use some visual aids like a MATLAB program, coding. You have to write the coding that how the three-dimensional space will be that. You have to write the code for the particular function. We have to show it that in 3D space, and we have to rotate it and show that, let them to enjoy. Then they will understand and appreciate. This is the nature of the visual learners, and this is the strategy for the visual learners to follow. Visual aids, demonstration of the concepts. Next type of learner is auditory learner. Auditory learner, already we have discussed this auditory learner, the advantages of traditional learning. So visual auditory learners are always interested on listening. So they are slow talkers. Auditory learners never talk more. They are good listeners. Like things to be explained verbally. So whatever thing, we have to narrate it as a story. I have to use the big sentences, verbal sentences to explain the concept. They are always learned by listening and verbalizing. So they have to learn in such way that they have to listen more and more in the lectures and verbalizing it. So if they're asking the question, we have to narrate it. The suitable strategy for them we have to adopt is that teaching delivered in a form of organized conversation or organized lecture. So they're very interested on lectures, listening lectures. So we have to be ready to organize such lectures or conversation for them to satisfy. So auditory learner will get satisfied. Next type of learner is read-write learners. They are usually like information to be displayed in writing. So they are very interested on the stuff have to be written on the board, everything clearly they have to write. Like text-based input and outputs. Enjoy reading and writing in all forms. So they are very interested in writing assignments. They are very interested in writing homeworks. Even sometimes, some of the students will be very interested to write on the board also instead of the teacher. They eagerly tell that, sir, I'll write. They'll come forward and help the students, help the instructor also sometimes. A teaching strategy for them. Silently reading or writing of notes by themselves. They're interested on writing ideas and principles in their own words, organizing diagrams, charts, etc. into statements. So now these are all the tasks we have to give that. We have to ask them to prepare a chart of an experiment and its benefits are to be listed out. We have to ask them to explain the principle, how the machine is working in a verbal form. They are very interested to write as a note. And they are asking to write the notes themselves. They will write. These are all the particular learners from which we get the notes. Usually what happened after post got over, usually teachers, even in colleges or universities, they'll ask one or two students among the class. They ask their notes. Why? Because they'll maintain the notes perfectly, sequential order. They properly put the diagrams with effort, and then different type of color pencils and pen they'll use to decorate the diagrams. And each part of the diagram will be represented in a different ways in an attractive way. These type of learners are read and write learners. For them, the teaching strategies that giving more assignments and preparing the charts, asking them to write their own words about the principles of the concept which we taught on that particular day. This is a read and write type of learner. Next, a learner is kinesthetic learner. This kinesthetic learner is somehow different. They never talk. They are slow to talker, slow to make decisions. They never immediately take a decision on time. Even a question that they just think in a lot of ways and different ways. Learn by doing and solving. Why? Because if we ask a question to this type of kinesthetic learner, we would have been asked the question with some expectation or in some dimension. But this type of kinesthetic learner, the same question, they will think in their own dimension, then they try to think more and more, and then they try to answer it. This is what kinesthetic learner. They learn by doing and solving real life problems. They are ready to face real life challenges, this type of learners. Like hands-on approach and hands-on experience, that everything they have to experience it, realize it, they have to answer. So what are the suitable teaching strategies are? Demonstration. We have to demonstrate everything, then only they will enjoy and satisfy it. Three-dimensional object, we have to show it at least. We have to take some mathematical models like a cuboid, cube, then tetrahedron. We have to bring it there. Even the three-dimensional axis, how it will be, we have to take some models. We have to show it. This is what the three-dimensional coordinate planes. Then only they will get convinced. We have to give some case studies for them to analyze the real-time problems. These are the strategies we have to follow. Next, we go to the important note. There are a variety of types of learners in a single class. This is what our real challenge in teaching. In teaching, there is no class. So far, we are in teaching profession more than a decade. So no teacher may feel that in a single classroom, all are homogeneous. It's not all possible. So there are a variety of type of learners in a single classroom. Therefore, it is important and necessary to incorporate multiple teaching methods. So here, when we started the lecture, we may started to feel that teaching is different, learning is different. When we go through the lectures, we come to know that teaching is nothing but learning. Teaching is achieved, it means that learning is achieved. So once the learning by the learners in the particular session is achieved, we can say that my teaching today is achieved. In the particular session, the learner's learning is not achieved. The main objective of my teaching is not achieved on that day. So teaching and learning is just merged together. Sorry. Then our main objective is achieved. So that after some instant, teaching learning methods, teaching goes into that learning, only learning method. So that thereafter, once we concentrated on different type of learning methods to implement over the students, automatically teaching gets success. So now we see that what is a passive as active learners. So now passive learners, just it's marked in the red part, active learners marked in another color. So people generally remember how much. We'll say that if he is a passive learner, what he read is able to recall for 10% of it. What he heard, he may be able, if he is a passive learner, I'm telling you, if he is a passive learner, is able to reproduce or recall or remember 20% of it, what he have heard it. What he have seen, he is able to reproduce or recall it for 30% of it. What they have seen and hear, they have seen some object and then they have heard something about the object. If he is a passive learner, he is able to reproduce or remember it for 50% of it. Okay, this is the level of passive learners. Passive learners, at most 50% they can recall it or remember it. But suppose he is an active learner, he may be able to recall it 70% of what they have say and write, what they say and then what they have written. They are able to recall it for 70%. If he is an active learner, he may be able to reproduce or remember 90% of what they do. Learning by doing is so powerful. Active learners having the tendency to learn by means of doing. So now we have to, in traditional method, we are not at all concentrated on that. In traditional method, we never allow them to involve. Even sometimes you would have been experienced and here with some teachers, never allow the students to ask the doubt. Why? Because See, school level teaching is entirely different and university level teaching is entirely different. We have to give full freedoms to the students to ask any doubt relevant to the particular concept or the topic which you have taken on that particular session. So that is very, very important. Then only the knowledge will be grown. They will be the helpful person for the nation development. So active learning is very, very important. So 90% of what they have done, they are able to remember it. How the learning outcome is achieved, we see that. See, now for passive learners, defining, listening, describing, and explaining, these are all possible for the passive learners up to this level, and demonstrate, apply, practice it. They can demonstrate it, what they learn, they can apply it for a simple applications and practice it. It is possible as an outcome for the passive learner. So for the passive learners, the outcome of learning is that they can define, they can listen the things, they can describe the things, they can explain it, they can demonstrate it and apply and practice it in a real life. But when we is an active learner, so his outcome is that he is able to analyze it. It is what advanced level of in Bloom's taxonomy. So analyze, define, create, and evaluate. So synthesis also coming in between that. So analyze, synthesize, and evaluate. So define and create is taking care of synthesize job. So analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluate. So this is what the outcome we can get it from the active learners by means of introducing the active learning methods. So active learning methods alone will make or transcend the knowledge of the students to go in higher level, to think or having a higher thinking, to analyze, synthesize, and evaluate the real-time problems. So see, as in universities and colleges, we really motivate and train the students to achieve or tackle the real life problems. When they go to the public after completed the graduation, they have to face and take the challenges of real life problems. Then only they can market themselves, and also then only they will be a good human to the society, and he will alone be a take part of developing this society. How to improve learning qualities? Now, learning quality have to be improved by means of, see, any system we take, even a system in and the universities or the companies or an educational institution are related to the teaching, any system, if the system is so flexible according to the environment, according to the participants, if it is flexible to change time to time, the system will be survived and long last it will be. So the system doesn't have flexibility, it never long last. So for example, in those days in our college or our schooling, how we learned how the teachers behave, it is not the behavior we behave with these students in the current scenario. So lot of changes, lot of differences, lot of gadgets, electronic gadgets are available. So immediately, even for example, in this Corona, I am sharing my experience that in the COVID-19 lockdown period, we are conducting the classes, online classes. So we come to know about that what is online sources available, Zoom and Microsoft, then many screen players to record our videos to send. Online sharings are available. So many aids we come to know that, and also WhatsApp, even a test, they have some WeLearn. So many platforms are there for educating the students online. But in those days, it is not aware of it. Even a computer is not there much. In those days, we are not experienced on learning even our computer courses by means of sufficient computers in those days. But here, even within the cell phone, we can complete whole sessions. We can give a lecture. We can teach. We can answer. So now some of the test papers, it's coming to my WhatsApp as a PDF file immediately within the schedule of time. We corrected and posted the mark. So this is what the advantages now. So our teaching methodology also have to be flexible. We have to change it according to this development. Otherwise, we never survive. So how to improve learning quality, just to see, set up the environment. So environment is very, very important, having a major role in learning process. So usually setting rows and columns, it is not usually helpful for all type of learners. So U-shaped arrangement of students to sit, team style, as a separate teams, you have to let them to sit. Conference table, like a conference table, we have to arrange it and let them to sit and learn. Circle type, these are all the types or arrangements of our environments of classroom when you are introducing different type of active learning methods. So next session, as I told, that we are going to discuss about the different type of active learning methods. I just have a plan to concentrate on one or few of these active learning methods. We'll go little deeper discussion about that, so that you staff members can try these methods in your classrooms, okay, for the benefit of the students. So that arrangement of classroom is very important when you are introducing different type of active learning methods. So U-shape arranged, team style or conference type of tables to be arranged, or circle type of table to be arranged before you start the active learning method. Seek participation. So very, very important that open discussion should be there, a response card should be there, polling should be there. We have to ask the question to each team. They have to have a card to vote their answer. They have to raise the cards, like a polling system, responses by means of showing the cards, or open discussion we have to allow them to. The next is create a learning partners. That's very, very important. This is a power and success of peer learning. In peer learning, each student have to feel that he is my peer to learn from him. He is a peer for sharing my knowledge. So we have to create a learning partners, groups, so that no one gets left out, and have them discuss, recap, analyze with each other. So they have to have a partner. It is a max classroom. He is my best friend. I can share with him. I can teach him. I can learn from him. This is what a group should be formed in each classroom, that so that there will be comfort for discussion, or recapping the concepts and analyzing the concept, or taking a quiz on it, so they'll enjoy the particular subject. Facilitate experiential activities. So we have to facilitate the students to get an experiential activities in introducing different type of active learning methods. Lecturing notes not have to be passive. It's very important that our notes should never be passive, that it should be active. For example, when you are giving the notes, in between the notes, we have to just to skip some steps. We have to let them to try their own, and then we have to discuss in the next session. At the end of this note, there should be some question for them to be answered by means of understanding today's lecture. We have to give some try yourself. We have to give some try yourself. We have to ask some questions. We have to give some problems, let them to try their own, and then ask them to interact the next day regarding that particular question. This is what our note should be. It shouldn't be passive. It should be active. Okay. Next. So what are some tips we'll see for implementation? See how to implement this active learning methods are so powerful technique. We have to allow the students to taste this active learning methods in the very beginning of the class itself. So use an active learning techniques on the first day of class. It sets an expectation of participation from the very beginning of the semester. So we shouldn't postpone it. So in the very beginning of the semester itself, we have to introduce these type of techniques. As a beginners, suppose if we are the learner of implementing this active learning methods, so shouldn't take a risk, continuously shouldn't implement all these methods. Why? Because which method have to be selected, for what topic, which method have to be selected, for what type of students, which type of concept, by way of which type of active learning method. This and all selection is very, very complicated. After the experience only we get it. For example, any one method I'm not able to select, any one active learning method I'm not able to select for teaching matrices to the students. It is not possible. I'll tell you in the next session, this discussion we have in the next session. So it is very important for the teacher to select the appropriate active learning method for the appropriate topic to the appropriate students. It is very important. So use an active learning techniques on the very first day of the semester. Start with an activity that is quick and easy. This will help students acclimate to your teaching style as well as help them learn how to participate in collaborative learning. Next, what is the top 10 requirements of good teaching? We'll see that. So we'll end up soon. Patience. Patience is needed. Why? Because in each class, at least one or two naughty students will be there. They will be their target would have been to make the teacher to be tensed. So patience is important. Substance is important. That without substance, we never survive in front of the student. So without the core, we never run the session. Even a session in front of the students. They are very wise most of the time, that they understand that teacher is today doesn't have any substance. They have to grind it. Humanity. We should be a teacher have to be a good human. Humanity is very, very important. Kindness is very, very important. We have to feel ever that they are my students. That alone will help to transfer our knowledge to students. So humanity is very important. Kindness is very important. Experiment. So we have to experiment. We have to experiment it. Even a method we are introducing, that we have to experiment it ourselves. We have to talk with other colleagues whether it is working or not, and we have to experiment it on the students also for the effectiveness of the method. Style. Each teacher should have their own style. Physics teacher or biology teacher, computer science teacher, so mechanical engineering staff. So each one have their own style. So it will be possible for a student to identify this is the style of maths teaching. Humor should be there. Without humor, the lecture will be boring. So humor will be always, even introducing active learning methods, while they're involving, actually, we have to make some humor. It is not out of the syllabus. What the activity they have done in the classroom, with that we have to make some humor among it. We have to care much. Nurturing, that's very important for the growth of the students. What is done, you should be clear. Monitoring, we have to monitor as how we monitor our children. Pleasure, we have to be so pleasure to be a part of, be a teacher. These are all 10 requirements, basic and top 10 requirements for a good teacher suggested by the researchers. I just will end up this session with this slide. So 7 principles of good practice in education. Chingering and Gamson in 1987, he presented this, he published a paper. He noted that, he quoted these words: encourages healthy contact between faculty and student. The student have to feel free. Develops reciprocity and cooperation among students. So it's very important. Uses active learning techniques. So this active learning techniques, if you started to introduce among the students, you may ultimately become a popular among the staff community in the particular institution, no doubt. So effective these techniques are. Gives prompt feedback. Okay. Then emphasizes time on task, communicate high expectations, respects diverse talents and ways of learning. These are the 7 principles of good practice in education. this is the time to thank. So I think I'm really thanking all the participants from various colleges and institutions eagerly participated in this lockdown period to enrich your knowledge, to learn active learning methods. As I told, the next session is ours is that we just go through the particularly the active learning methods. Many methods are there like peer involve and solve, 1, 2, 3 format, zigzag, peer instruction. So a lot of methods are there. So one by one, just to go through the methods, what are all the sequential order of implementation, and then what the environment we have to create to implement this particular technique, and then what the technique says, how to implement it, how it works. That all we'll discuss that, and also what technique I introduced in my university, what are the feedback I got it, what the difficulties I faced it while implementing. That also I'll share it in this next session. I really thank all the participants. I really thank the Department of Physics, Laila College. I thank the management of Laila College and the principal of Laila College and all the staff members and the patron of the program. I just to thank. I thank our institution, Veltech Rangarajan Dr. Sakuntala R&T Institute of Science and Technology, had given a wonderful opportunity and allowed me to go and participate and share my knowledge in this wonderful FDP program. I thank everyone in this moment. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the organizers. Thank you for the patience. Thank you very much. All is well. Any questions you have? Say it will be in online in YouTube. In the comment box, you may just raise the questions. I'm sure that I'll answer all the questions too in return. Or my mail ID is there. So now I show my mail ID. In the very first slide, I had shown my mail ID. So this is my official mail ID, j@veltech.edu.in. Just you mail me any questions. And also after the end of the second session, so anybody having any difficulty in implementation, any suggestions you want, you please freely you can discuss with me. How much I know, I just to share it with you and help you for the implementation of this active learning methods for the benefit of the students, the learner side. Thank you all of you. Thank you.
you.